What is paradise to you? Today we want to explore one very special person's way of creating a paradise and sharing it with people around the world. In Pissara Umavijani's language, a paradise is called Dusita, which is also the name that she gave to her very own fragrance house. Pissara grew up in Thailand, in a home filled with poetry and books. That's where her passion for perfume really started. She, since very young age, was mixing precious materials and rare ingredients, which pretty much made her a self-made indie perfumer. Later, she moved to Paris to pursue her dream of starting her own perfume brand. And she was sharing her creations with experts from the industry and with fellow perfumers. Her talent was hard not to notice, so further encouraged by her success in Paris, she finally launched Parfums Dusita in 2016 with a leading production house in Grasse. The methodology behind Parfums Dusita elegantly marries the traditions of classic French perfumery and Thai heritage. Because for centuries, Siamese ceremonies were always accompanied by the use of aromatic treasures, including rose, jasmine, sandalwood, beeswax, etc. But when we discover perfume brands, it's not just the methodology or the ingredients that we care about. We always try to understand the perfumer's inspiration. We always try to understand what painted the context of their olfactory experiences and inspired them to create various scents in the collection. All scents of Parfums Dusita are olfactory tributes to Pissara's father, who was a lifelong poet and writer, looking for the state of joy and peace of mind, looking for that Dusita, which is a happy place where anyone and everyone is free to create art with passion and love. And that's exactly the vibe that she is trying to evoke with her fragrances. As of today, there are 13 fragrances in Parfums Dusita collection. 3 of those are Extraits de parfum, which means that they're higher in their concentration. We have Mélodie de l'amour, which is a white floral fragrance which Pissara herself calls a gentle seduction. We also have Oud Infini, a rich oud fragrance inspired by the mystery of exotic adventure, and Pissara, a classy, clean, fougère fragrance which feels like a walk in the nature. The rest of the collection are 10 beautiful eau de parfums, and what I personally like the most about them is the fact that each scent is inspired by a very simple moment in life that pretty much anyone can encounter. For example, the Moonlight is inspired where it paints the scene of midnight in the city, bathed with moonlight and fireflies. Pretty simple situation of a very romantic silence, but I think exactly in those moments our soul rests, and it's in those moments when we find true wisdom and true joy. So Moonlight is absolutely gorgeous and romantic scent. It has some very bright yuzu paired with more gentle jasmine in the top notes. The heart of Moonlight is a little bit more mysterious because here we have some nutmeg, benzoin, and myrrh, and the base brings us that very classy, green yet woody feeling, which is provided by the combination of vetiver, teakwood, and patchouli. Very, very elegant fragrance. As Pissara told us herself, everything about the design of the package is supposed to contribute to the olfactory experience that she wants to create for the audience. As you can see, the design of the bottles is quite simple and clean, but intentionally there is a lot of transparency going on. The reason why is because she actually wants the audience or the consumer, the client, to see the color of the juice, as it's the first stimuli for your perception. You might not even consciously process it, but when you see this orange or this dirty blue color, your brain is already starting to build a foundation for the olfactory experience that comes after seeing these bottles and the juice in them. For simplicity of reviewing the entire collection, I divided all 10 eau de parfums into categories by olfactory family. And let me walk you through my personal favorites from each of the categories. So the first one is woody aromatic, and the first fragrance here is, of course, the Moonlight that I just told you about. Another woody aromatic fragrance here is called Erawan. So Erawan takes us on a tour or on a journey into a forest on a Thai elephant. How cute is that? So the scent opens up with a very appealing herbal accord, which to me sounds almost like sweet black tea, and that's beautifully complemented with vetiver and clary sage that we have in the heart of the fragrance. The entire story is softened up by the romantic nature of Lily of the Valley, and as the fragrance dries down, you'll get that very mossy, almost wet vibe from it. And let's not forget about vanilla in the base, because vanilla is actually, to me, the representation of a very kind soul that I imagine elephants would have. I don't know, elephant always associated for me with a very kind and wise animal. So I think vanilla, in terms of the olfactory story, is actually the symbol of that character. Moving on, we have the floral category, which I'm going to open up with a perfume called Splendiris. Splendiris is tenderness in a bottle. And if you like orris root, carrot seeds, violets, if that's your genre, then this is the fragrance for you. But don't immediately assume that this is going to be a powdery, boring story. It's actually not. And I really like how Pissara keeps confusing us about the nature of her scents. So here, for example, despite all of those orris, iris, carrot seeds, and violets in the heart, it's complemented by lots of citruses in the top notes and the fig leaf. And in the base, we have some vetiver, cedar, vanilla for a bit of sweetness, and what I find to be a very smart move, we have some ambergris. Ambergris is what gives this fragrance airiness, and despite the very rich floral accords, very intriguing woods in the base, ambergris allows the audience to still breathe in that rich cloud. Another scent in the floral category that I want to point out is called Cavatina. Cavatina is interesting to me because when I smell it, the first thing that comes to mind is just a bunch of soap bubbles, but then magically it develops the character of a vintage fragrance. So that progression is what makes Cavatina quite intriguing. We have bergamot, petitgrain, and lily of the valley in the top notes. In the heart, we have a very classic French combination, in my opinion, tuberose, jasmine, and ylang ylang. And in the base, we have Siamese wood and vanilla. And now, drum roll please, the time for the absolute winner. In my humble opinion, it's Sillage Blanc. This is you waking up by sunshine, somewhere in the countryside, going outside, feeling that fresh, crisp air alongside with freshly cut grass, and going on an endless walk, enjoying yourself, enjoying the nature, and being in complete peace and a very clear state of mind. That's Sillage Blanc. In order for me to call a fragrance clean and fresh, I will always look for some green and herbal components in it. And apparently my interpretation of clean and fresh matches Pissara's, because this is what we have in Sillage Blanc. It opens up with a gentle floral accord made up by neroli and ylang-ylang. In the heart we have some leather and galbanum. And in the base we have oak moss and classy and green and floral patchouli. So what is Parfums Dusita? Parfums Dusita is a wide range where almost every client will find a fragrance for themselves. I look at this brand from the cultural standpoint because, as I already mentioned, one of the main goals is to marry classic French perfumery with Thai heritage. So for those of us who are used to classic way of experiencing European olfactory art, this brand might seem a little experimental. If not experimental, then definitely intriguing. Each scent will allow you to pick up on classic characteristics of French perfumery, but at the same time, each scent will have a very special kick that you will not find in any other brand.